We're 3 movies into the DC Cinematic Universe. After the failures that was Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad was the movie people were looking to shake things up. After the massive negative reaction of Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad was reshot to be, less awful to watch. Despite DC failing to prove that their movies aren't massive train wrecks, people were excited for this movie. Is their excitement rewarded with an enjoyable movie, or does Warner Brothers fail yet again to strike gold? Find out with Joe at the Movies. Now that we're past that, Suicide Squad sucks. No, it's not as bad as Batman v Superman, but it's only better than that fiasco because in order to do that terrible, you have to do it on purpose. It wasn't as big of a slog to get through as the previous movies were, but it's still not that great. The reshoots do nothing to change anything other than to clash colorful word art and hidden mostly missed humor with a disgusting looking aesthetic with some of the worst costume designs ever. The fun part is trying to figure out what's worse, the director's original vision or the movie they tried to edit into it. Deadshot is Will Smith. Notice I said Deadshot is Will Smith, not Will Smith plays Deadshot. He's just being himself and no real effort is given to portray a character. I mean, if you like Will Smith, I guess you'll like him here, but he's not really acting. He doesn't try to portray a guy with suicidal tendencies, and I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't try getting his own daughter to play his daughter. Or probably his son. He also has this thing where, like, if people threaten him, he goes, "Did you just threaten me?" And you think something would happen, like, oh, he would kill them, and that would be like his thing, but nothing ever comes of it. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it usually just leads to him getting the crap beat out of him. Oh, and he has a code. He doesn't kill women and children, which I thought was dumb. Kids, yeah, fine, I get that. But women? Come on, dude, don't be sexist. If you kill men, you kill women. All you're doing is cutting off 50% of your potential profits. At one point, after Amanda Waller shoots some people, he goes, "That's gangsta." And honestly, I died a little inside.
That's gangsta.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is supposed to be the other breakout character and is shoved down your throat, and that goes down about as well as ice cream through your nose. Another prime example of the terrible costume designs, her outfit is completely atrocious. It's obviously supposed to be sexy, but it's so ridiculously stupid and uncomfortable looking that it's laughable. There's nothing attractive about white trash and clown makeup. Her performance is about as uncomfortable as her wedgie. When Harley Quinn was first introduced into the Batman the Animated Series, her voice was so piercing and defining that it must be incorporated into any version of her character. Margot's attempt is to simply do a terrible Jersey accent, not very inspiring or well done. Her comedic timing and jokes are so cringy and unfunny that the prospect of her getting her own movie makes me laugh harder than anything she ever does.
What was that? I should kill everyone and escape? Sorry. It's the voices. I'm kidding. That's not what they really said.
Irritator vex me.
I'm known to be quite vexing. I'm just forewarning you.
You die.
Harley Quinn turns out to be the Jar Jar Binks of the Suicide Squad, a sorry attempt at comedic relief that you just instantly hate. Harley Quinn is supposed to be annoying to the characters, not annoying to the audience. Does this movie even attempt any level of depth with her character? No. What they end up going with is simply Joker's bottom bitch. So for all this hype about Harley Quinn, you get ICP Jar Jar Binks. So much of this movie's attempt at characterization is devoted to Deadshot and Harley Quinn, who aren't even worth it, that all the other characters get sidelined. Look, I get it. There's not much to Killer Croc. He looks like a crocodile and he kills people. His name is very apropos. But just go all in. Make him a giant monster. Make him like he is in the Arkham games. At the very least, make him look as scary as the movie keeps trying to convince us he is. Don't force an actor to try and emote through all that awful makeup. I couldn't understand anything he said. They should have just hulked him. Captain Boomerang. Well, he's played by Jai Courtney, who's Australian, so I guess they get that part right. He's mostly about as much as the background as the CGI is. He has a few lines, tries to sneak off, and he throws boomerangs. I think he did. He actually has a funny moment that totally fits his character, but then they ruined it. He was better on the Flash TV show. My favorite character, or as I should say, the character I hated the least, was probably Diablo. My knowledge of the character was from the original Lazarus Lane version from All-Star Comics, but this is apparently the third incarnation of the character from the comics. They were trying to go for one of those, I have amazing powers, but I want to fight, type of characters, which I guess could have been interesting if more time was devoted to him instead of the overblown stars. Other than him explaining his own character with a flashback, they don't really elaborate on him, which is another problem with this movie, is that it relies way too much on flashbacks. Not to mention he was the only one that could do anything against the villain of the movie. He was my favorite character, so naturally they killed him, continuing DC's tradition of killing off its most useful characters. I know that I say the costumes are garbage, like metaphorically, but Enchantress's costume literally looks like garbage. It looks like they took a bikini and dumped it in trash. I can't believe the actor insulted Wonder Woman's outfit. You don't get to insult other people's costumes when you dress like this. She's inside the character June Moon, who gets no character development other than being the love interest to Rick Flag, who other than being an exposition dump and leader of the so-called squad, is boring too. The Enchantress turned into the villain of the movie, along with her brother Incubus, who I only know his name because I looked it up because I don't remember the movie ever mentioning it. The last member of the Suicide Squad is Slipknot, who I've never heard of before and isn't important because they kill him immediately. He apparently uses grappling hooks, so he's like Batman, if Batman only used grappling guns. It's not really a spoiler, as you barely see him in the trailers and hear nothing of him anyway, but, as part of the course, his costume was garbage before they blew his head off. The lack of characterization and them just trying to shove people in this movie is really apparent when it comes to Katana. First off, she's not even in the Suicide Squad. Once the team is assembled and is flying off to the second act, Katana pops out of nowhere, has a flashback to an action sequence that tells us nothing of her character. And then Rick Flag explains her sword and her character because this movie is very lazy. Harley Quinn says something unfunny and then the audience is just supposed to go with it. And there's also a scene where she's talking to her sword as if it was her husband. Which, as Rick Flag boringly explained earlier, that her sword captures souls, you can assume that her husband is in the sword. But this movie has to insult your intelligence and have Rick Flag boringly explain that to you too, because this movie is fucking lazy. She was better on Arrow, for crying out loud. Oh god, Jared Leto Joker. The Joker is just completely unnecessary in this and has no effect on anything that happens. So many of the scenes with him don't make any sense, and he has no interactions with any of the characters outside of Harley Quinn in flashbacks. And to top it all off, yeah, hands down, Jared Leto was the worst Joker ever, with inarguably the most pathetic Joker laugh ever. For all this hype surrounding him and Leto's claims that he totally gets into his characters and all his harassing he did of his co-stars to convince everybody that he was crazy, he sucks and gives a really boring performance. Now we could just arrest him now, please. Viola Davis is the best actor in the movie. She portrays Waller with just the right amount of cunning and ruthlessness. She's better than the one they had on the Arrow, and I'm glad she slapped Leto. So on top of all those one-dimensional characters, the plot is a complete mess. The Suicide Squad is formed because Amanda Waller wants something to fight a General Zod-type threat now that Superman is dead. Which makes her selection of people make absolutely no sense. What is Harley Quinn supposed to do against General Zod? Hit him with her bat? She markets this idea to, I don't know, military leaders as using metahumans to fight metahumans. But of the entire team, only one of them is a metahuman. Which becomes really hilarious in the final battle. The villain is immune to bullets and bats and boomerangs, which makes Diablo the only person that can fight the villain. And just to point out just how dark this movie is, like literally dark, despite the fact that Diablo is shooting giant flames everywhere, it still looks like someone turned off the lights. This movie has two beginnings where we're introduced to Deadshot and Harley Quinn, and then the title of the movie pops up like an ad for Hot Topic, and then we're introduced to Deadshot and Harley Quinn. I have no idea why any of these characters grow to tolerate one another. They barely have any interactions with each other, and certainly not enough to not want to kill each other. There's a point where Deadshot is told by Waller that if he kills Harley Quinn, he'll get to see his daughter, and I can't think of a single reason why he wouldn't just shoot her. But he doesn't, for, I don't know, reasons. Or when Flag smashes the controller to blow their heads up, Captain Boomerang immediately runs away, which is really funny and appropriate to his character, but then the movie ruins it by having him come back. Why? It doesn't make any sense character-wise, it's not as if he could do anything in the final battle anyway. And to top it all off, the end credits scene is just Bruce Wayne meeting with Amanda Waller to say, "I'm forming the Justice League, this movie is pointless." This movie was clearly trying to imitate Guardians of the Galaxy, especially in its soundtrack. However, where it made sense in that movie and the song selection actually fits the scene, this one just does it randomly. You could pull out any song and replace it with a different song and it would still make about as much sense. You might as well just turn on your iPod while you're watching this movie, put it on shuffle, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. There's absolutely no depth to this movie whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the whole part of the bar scene you see in the commercials is basically to say, there's good guys and there's bad guys. We're bad guys. We do bad things. Yeah, very, very, very deep movie, very deep. The DC cinematic universe is obviously broken, and the only way it could be fixed is if Scott Bakula quantum leaped into the body of an executive and stopped any of these decisions from occurring. But the odds of that happening are about the same as any of you getting that reference. The acting is lame, the script is terrible, and the action is substandard. The animated movie Batman Assault on Arkham was a better Suicide Squad movie than this, and they weren't even in the title. I don't recommend this movie. Please don't sign a petition to take me down. What's this? We need this guy to be shut down because he always gives the DC Extended Universe movies unjust bad reviews, like Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice 2016, Suicide Squad 2016, just two, and that affects people's opinions even if it's really great movies. Oh, come on!